folks, Josh Karpo here with the Fishing with Karpo show again. I'm sorry about the poor video quality. I'm actually using a webcam right now. I'm trying to get a new camera, the GoPro. If you want to donate money, send some my way. I'm not giving you my address because I have a lot of fishing stuff you'll probably want to take. Today I'm going to be talking to you about what is the best bass fishing lure out there. I have had the most luck on the spinnerbait of all lures. I love to use a spinnerbait in clear water, which is totally different than probably what you have heard. I also like to use it in murky water. I'm not a big fan of using it in real cold water, but I do like to use it to trigger the bass to make that initial strike. You know, they're not feeding on it. They don't see it as a bait fish. They almost always hit it out of reaction. You can't get them to hit it during the fall when they are starting to feed a little heavier. But I love this the spinnerbait because it is versatile. You can throw it at anything, and you can use it and fish it in many different ways. I like to make it look like the dying shad, pulling it up, making it go all over the place, not just reeling it in. I throw it in the heaviest of cover using monofilament. A spinnerbait is really not that expensive, and I catch a lot of bass just doing that. I throw it towards cover. Laydowns are probably the best thing that you can throw it at, and just cranking it, and then make sure that what I like to do is pull it up right at the end of the laydown, then let it drop. Pull it up to the surface, let it drop. Make it look like a shad is dying. A lot of shad are going to relate to that laydown. You're not going to see a whole lot of them right at the end of that laydown. So the bass are sitting there waiting right there at that end of the laydown for a shad to come by just like that. The other bait, I love this bait. I think it is the best bait. I've caught a lot of big bass on it, and you don't hear that much about it. The Bill Lewis rattle trap or lipless crankbaits. The Strike King makes the red eye shad. Love it. Love the Bill Lewis rattle trap, but it really depends. I love the red eye shad when the conditions are a little bit tougher. Once again, dying shad. The best thing you can do, match the forage that these bass are looking for. If there's a bunch of shad, make that lure die. Make it die. Think of it as a real shad. Think of it as a shad that's dying. Bass are going to go for an easy meal. That's why they get so big. They are smart. Why chase a shad that's going to be able to outmaneuver them, run them? They are sleek. They are built for that. Bass, a little bit bigger. They can't make the turns as fast, though they are a very, very well built fish. Now, the Bill Lewis rattle trap, there is one flaw to it. I like my rattle traps to fall evenly. The Bill Lewis doesn't do that. It acts more like a torpedo. It will go straight into the water and fall face first. It will not wiggle as it's going down. That's where the red eye shad comes in handy. When the fishing conditions are a little bit tougher, use the bait that matches the forage once again. If the forage, especially the shad, if they're real shiny and they have just a little bit of color to them, use something that matches it. The sexy shad. I am hip on that color. The other thing is, if it's murky water, use black. Something that the fish can see. The other thing that you really want to remember is, if it's clear water, I don't throw fluorocarbon. When it's clear water, I match the water color. Moss green, I am a huge believer in that color. I don't use clear. I think they can see that a little bit better in the water, but do something that matches the color of the water. Water is not clear. You'll hear people, all the water conditions are clear. throw a moss green in there. You know, they will match the watercolor a little bit better. It's just what the sunlight does to the water. But 14-pound test is usually what I use. I'll go a little bit lighter if I'm using crankbaits. It doesn't matter with lipless crankbaits. Honestly, the other thing you want to remember is when you are making this cast, do not click your reel as soon as that lure hits the water. Wait a couple seconds. Wait for that lure to drop straight down. If you do click the reel a little bit sooner, it will give the pendulum effect. You don't want that. A lot of people will throw it right on top of the fish, but they'll, set the reel as soon as it hits the water. You just missed all those fish. You're basically, your lure, here's your fish. Your lure is, going right over the top of the fish. If you do wait a couple seconds before you set your reel, what'll happen is your lure drops straight down on top of the fish. Once again, spinnerbaits will get that reaction strike. The lipless crankbaits, drop it down, and especially, the red-eye shad, they'll kind of shake as they're going down, and they shake evenly. That's what makes them so different. But when you do that, this is looking more like a shad that's just falling, and then when you set the reel, the bass will usually follow it and then hit it. But folks, this is just another tip from the Fishing with Karpo show. Go out there and try this. Other than that, folks, go out there and catch a big one and enjoy the rest of your day. So I'm going to tack this on to the end of my video. I was just talking about spinnerbaits and rattle traps and lipless crankbaits with you. So I'm going to go through and show you some of this stuff that works really well for me. I'm going to start here with the Strike King Red-Eye Shad. You can see I've got it here in the sexy shad color, and it's a little bit hard here for you to see, but it goes from this nice silver color with a little bit of orange on the bottom up into a yellow and a blue. If you've ever caught shad in your life, this mimics those shad perfectly. The neat thing about these is as they fall through the water columns, instead of going head first into the water like a torpedo, like my friend here, the Bill Lewis rattle trap does, it'll actually flutter almost like a spoon as it's going down through the water column. Makes it very effective for those cold water fish that are looking for dying shad. They don't want to chase bait fish all over the place. They want it to fall right in front of their face, and they want to make it easy for them to eat that. That's what this comes in handy for. This one, the Bill Lewis rattle trap, I love it when I'm pulling it through weeds, especially when the bite is really good. You pull these through the weeds. What's nice about it is it has that sleek body. The head of it is honestly really sleek. It's almost torpedo-like. So when you do cast it, it just falls straight into the water like that. But when you're ripping it through the weeds, it rips through the weeds really, really well. I like using them both heavy and light. And they work both for bass, white bass, hybrids, crappie. You can get the smaller sizes for even panfish. I have yet to catch a walleye on it yet. I'm impartial to using crappie jigs for walleye, but I'm sure it'd work. All right, so the next thing I'm going to talk about here is spinnerbaits. You'll see here I've got the Booyah spinnerbait here with the 4 blades. Love it when the shad are really schooled up and the bass are chasing those schools. They're going to look for the big shad. They're not really going to try to chase a small shad. It's just a waste of their energy. So this will make this look like a big shad. And you'll see here that the spinnerbaits, there's not a whole lot to them. They're not complicated. On this one, I've got, a chartreuse and white skirt there. And the blades actually go from a silver blade to a gold blade, silver blade, gold blade. So it can be fished in any types of water, any time of the day. And it works great. It really does. It's a little bit heavier, so I like to fish a little bit deeper. I love to slow these spinnerbaits down. That way, the bass it stays in the strike zone longer. It works. All right, and show you a couple more here. Just give me a second here. I've got as you can see, I keep my stuff as organized as I can. This is my spinnerbait box. Comes in the Plano 777 guide series. Got that many years ago. I'm not even sure that you can still get them. But they work great. I do recommend the Plano guide series tackle boxes. There's nothing like them. You can store so much stuff in them. And definitely check out even their smaller stuff. So the 7471, I use it as my crappie tackle box. You can get that at Walmart. So it's right down the road. Pretty simple. But back onto the subject of spinnerbaits. Spinnerbaits, amazing lures. What you're gonna see here, I've got a white one. Once again, 4 blades, clear water, sunny days. These work well on sunny days. White, all silver blades. Use those on sunny days, especially when the water is clear, real fast. The fish are gonna see that, so you want to reel fast so they don't have time to look at it. You want them just to turn it and hit it out of reaction. That is the point of the spinnerbait in these clear water conditions. What we've got here, and this is something the pros don't talk about. So folks, only on the Fishing with Karpo show are you gonna see stuff like this. Get a spinnerbait, the little $1 ones from Walmart, put big old blades on them. You just made that a freaking $10 spinnerbait, and the spinnerbait blades don't cost that much. So you can get like a pack of like 25 of them at your local bait shop for like $5 or $6. And you know these spinnerbaits already come with the beads on them. This one was just a cheap little thing I found at a bait shop. I think I spent $1.50 on it. It's heavy. I put huge blades on it. Once again, the bass are not going to chase a bunch of small bait fish. They can outrun them. They can maneuver them. These bigger shad, a little bit harder. They're going to hit these bigger shad. It's more food, less effort. Works great. The other thing, there are different types of, yeah, here we go again, sexy shad. Oh, God, I love that color. Alright, so what I was saying here is you do want to change, and I've got a bunch of these blades, different weights. Once again, I've got a bunch of sexy shad ones, but different weights, and I've got my little dog here. You guys want to see my dog? He's my fishing buddy. See him? Say hi, Berkeley. He's my fishing buddy. As a matter of fact, I did name him after a fishing company. I'm that big into fishing. So, I do have a couple of sexy shads. I like to stock up in bulk. My fiance hates it, but I do like to get them in different weights. She doesn't understand that these fish don't always hit the same weight. So, use the exact same spinnerbait. Try different weights. Once again, a 1/4 ounce spinnerbait is not going to go down as far as a 1/2 ounce. So, switch up your weights. It'll work great for you. If the fish stop hitting on the 1/4 ounce, let's say you're using it in the morning, they're hitting on the 1/4 ounce. Well, as it gets towards noon, let's say noon, when the sun is at its peak, go down to a 1/2 ounce. The fish are going to go just a bit deeper, and you're not really going to catch a whole lot of fish unless it's very murky water. If it's clear water, they're going to be able to see 1-2 feet, and so they'll be able to see that spinnerbait. And by the time it hits the water, they're going to see it not even try to hit it as much as you would as using a 1/2 ounce in fishing for those fish that are 5-6 feet of water. So let's talk about, if I can find it here, Colorado blades. Love them. They're awesome. Vibration. Vibration, vibration. That is all these Colorado blades are based on. I like using the black spinnerbaits. I don't really care for the orange too much, though it does look like a bluegill. And I like using the black for murky water. A lot of the waters around here are murky. Down further south towards Branson, you do have Table Rock, which is a little bit more clear. But for the most part, Lake of the Ozarks and Truman, lakes like that are murky. They do have the structure. And the one I like fishing, I know a lot of you people are like, man, where are these lakes? They're in Missouri, and the one I grew up on is Pomme de Terre. It's usually a pretty clear lake, takes the brunt of all the floods, so it really does produce some pretty decent fish, but it's also inconsistent with as much water as it does take on during the spring. So I'm used to switching things up. I'm a big, person that likes to pattern fish, and this is something I'll go into here in probably a week or two, is pattern fishing. But Colorado blades are meant for vibration. So when the fish aren't looking, they're not, looking for these blades here. your willow leaf blades, instead, they're wanting vibration. They're not really feeding. These Colorado blades work very well. Throw them up along the side of a fish and reel it back. But the key to this, reel it back fast. You're trying to, once again, get a reaction strike. That's what these spinnerbaits were built for. They're not built because the fish are feeding on things like that. You want it to relate to some kind of forage. In this case, the spinnerbaits are relating to your shad-like bait fish. But in this instance, this thing is there, honestly, for reaction strikes. So, you want to use these rounded blades. They make the spinnerbait vibrate. Really, the color doesn't matter too much if it's murky water. You want them to see it so they can hit it and they don't miss it. So you don't want to go using a white. That ain't going to do you any good in murky water. Works well in clear water. But I just wanted to go over a few lures and tactics there to tack on to the end of this video. I know it's been a long video. I know you want to see me out there fishing, but once again, trying to get a new camera. Just got to wait on that. But, folks, I'm going to elaborate this again. Go out there, catch me a big fish. Hey, post me a video, even some pictures, and I'd love to see it. Other than that, folks, have a great day.